authority should devolve to the lowest level. And if you don't like where you live, you can move, right? So I lived my entire life in California, my entire life, right? Except for a couple of years at Harvard, my whole life, like age 0 to 35. And then I didn't like how it was governed. And so I moved. And so now I live in Florida and I like it better. And you know what? Cool. You know, that's.
But you have the money to move.
I was about to say, everybody can't just get up and move.
Yeah, that's a level
like
of
that.
privilege that you have to acknowledge.
So actually, well, yes. First of all,
bro, we gotta stop. We gotta stop making excuses. And well, everybody can't make. You know how easy it is to move if you really want to move within 6 months, bro. Like we gotta stop. We gotta stop making excuses. Spend some of that Jordan money. Spend some of that money you spend on your kids' birthdays. Spend some of that Christmas money. Spend your tax money and move. Figure out what would be a better opportunity and make the change. We got to stop making excuses.
First of all, yes, I'm wealthy enough to move for sure. Also, one of the things that has actually radically declined in the United States, and this actually is a major problem, is people moving generally. It is easier to move now than it was 50 years ago, right? It's easier. I mean, first of all, you can get things cheaper. You can move things across the country with better modes of transportation. The population movement in the country has radically slowed. And so people would rather, pay an enormous amount of money for a tiny apartment in New York City than even think about moving outside New York City to go to a place where there might be more jobs. And that actually is a problem. And I think that has been propped up by government regulation, government spending, the belief that it's about, the government can make your situation more livable, as opposed to the actual history of America was an enormous amount of population movement. Yeah. And I don't think that's necessarily, by the way, you are seeing that happen. In 2020, you saw a massive population movement, particularly to the south, to areas that are easier to live.
And one of the main reasons why is because there's always been winners and losers. Losers sit around and think about, how can I make the people in charge of me make me better? How can I make the system benefit me more? And you have little to no control over that. You have to wait for all this red tape. You have to wait for somebody to wake up out of their bed, put their house slippers on, get their robe on, brush their teeth, go into the office, read over a bill, sign some paperwork, and then implement it, and we gonna do this next year. You have to wait for all of that just to even have the chance for a small change to happen in your life. But you would rather do all of that and wait through all of that and waste years of your life that you would never get back than to look online, go on Zillow.com, look at where housing is more affordable, go on Indeed.com, look at the jobs within that area, look at the skill sets required for you to get said job, and make changes in your life. People don't want to do that. They believe that they should be able to live where they grew up, or they should be able to live where they want to live, and everyone deserves to live in LA, and everyone deserves to live in New York, and you want to take pictures in front of the Big Apple, in front of the Hollywood sign, and make it seem like you live in a life you not. If you got to move down south to Mississippi, or you got to move to Texas or something like that to get your money right, save up a little bit, start an actual life where you can build and have opportunity to grow, then that's what you need to do. Stop making excuses.
And those are financial decisions. It's not just for me. I mean, they're members of my extended family who've moved down to Florida who don't earn nearly the kind of money that I do, because it's actually a lot cheaper, for example, to live in Florida than it is to live in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Don't you? I want to go back to the envy thing, and you touched on it a little bit. But don't you think societal structures like economic inequality can lead to envy? Like if you can eat and I can't, yes, I'm gonna be envious of that. If you have a house and I don't, I'm homeless, yes, I'm gonna be envious of that. So can't you see where that can cause envy and political discontent?
So I mean, envy is a normal human thing, right? We all feel it. The question is whether that is justified, and not only whether it's justified, but whether the desire to turn that into a destruction of the system is justified. Mm-hmm. So again, it's normal for every person feels this. If you can be a very rich person, if you live next to Bill Gates, you're going to be envious of Bill Gates. Right? Bill Gates has a bigger house than you. Does that mean that the systems are broken? Or does it mean maybe you should, change the way you're doing things? And I think that's why I say in the first instance, not always, but in the first instance, you should say, what can I do to change my life? If that dude next door has a really nice car, maybe I should try to figure out how he got that car. Like, how did he succeed? Right? The way that you make your life better typically is you find successful people, and then you try to emulate the behavior of successful people. This is particularly true in the financial sphere, right? How do they make their investments? Are they blowing their money? How did they get into business? By the way, every successful billionaire that I know is a person who had multiple failed businesses before they actually succeeded.
And this is one of the things I don't think that I don't think it's pushed enough in black culture, and I don't think that the politicians are going to run on, which is this idea that you have the power to change your circumstances, and it's not some evil person holding you back. It's not some white person holding you back or some black person taking your job. It's none of that. What it comes down to is, have you identified the type of success that you want in your life? Do you have a vision for what you want to do? And are you surrounding yourself with the information, the people, etc., to go and do that? Most people don't even know how to build wealth. Most people don't know how to negotiate for a higher salary. Most people don't know how to look at something, dissect it, reverse engineer it, and apply it to their lives. And then what ends up happening is they go out and blow their money on J's. They go eat out all the time. They go do all of these things that are not conducive to building wealth. And then they point the finger and blame those that have, and blame those that they don't know, and say something bad must have taken place in order for you to get what you have. This is very common within the black community. This is very common within the black community, where you have a successful black person and the other black people say he sold out. They say things like, see, I didn't sell my soul. That's why I ain't got the nice car or the nice house. That's why I don't have the life I want, is because I didn't sell my soul. See, if I sold my soul, I would have what they have. So they associate it with some evilness or selling their soul. They never want to look at the fact that, how is he spending his money? How has he been? What is his behavior like? Oh, we see he wasn't ditching school in 7th grade and going and smoking in 9th grade and ditching and staying out till all hours of the night. And he graduated from high school. We want to leave that part of it out. We don't see the countless hours he spent in college going for his bachelor's and master's degree. We don't see the countless hours that he's put in to self-development, business, books, all of the continuing education. We don't see that. All we see is the results, and then we associate the results with something negative. And this is why a lot of black people refuse to upgrade their life and the way that they do things. And I focus in on the black community because that's the community that I'm a part of. I understand I'm in part a part of the general American community, but I want to focus on the black community because that's what I'm passionate about, and that's what the hell I want to speak on. So if you have a problem with that, that's your issue. I'm going to speak on the black community. But let's finish hearing what he got to say.
Like, risk taking is an actual skill you have to cultivate.
And I don't like that. See, my biggest problem is this, right? You said you grew up one house, you had one bathroom.
I'd say like lower to middle class, yeah.
Correct. So I know a lot of people who grew up and they struggled, right? And they tried and things didn't work. They didn't go party. They tried and then it caught and they did well, right? And I feel like sometimes you penalize somebody for doing well by taxing them more than somebody who hasn't. But they gave up a lot. They gave up their life. They gave up their party life. They gave up going out. And I don't like the fact that we don't sometimes make poor people try to be richer opposed to making rich people being poorer. But what I don't like is when you have a company, let's say whatever company it may be, and they're in New York and you say, you know what, you don't have to pay taxes because we don't want you to leave. That's a smack in the face when a company brings in $2-3 billion and never have to pay a tax at all.
Well, again, I think that the better thing for the city of New York to do would be to lower taxes for everybody.
Scribe.
Like choosing the winners and the losers, and certain people get tax benefits or subsidies. I think that's stupid.
I agree.
Hey, Mondani.
But
you're talking like Matt Mondani talk.
I'm talking
now.
about I'm actually.
You're talking that affordability talk, Ben.
Well, I mean, I think the way that you actually achieve affordability is to lower the regulations and lower the taxes in New York City. It is very difficult to live in New York City. I mean, I have relatives who used to live in New Jersey. I have relatives who are currently living in LA. So I'll use that as an analogy because I know the policy in LA better. I live there. The policy in LA is brutal. I mean, you can actually earn a really solid living in Los Angeles and still find it very, very difficult to pay your bills because of things like rent control preventing development, or regulations that prevent you from building new buildings, or tax structures that make you pay a lot of money, or licensing structures that make you have to go get a license to cut hair, right? Like all this kind of stuff is really, really stupid. And again, my problem with Mamdani, I have many problems with.
Yeah, so I think we kind of get the gist of what he's saying here. I really just wanted to highlight the part where, It seems like more and more people are more interested in complaining instead of doing the work that it takes to get where they want to get. I've always believed that your success is your responsibility. So if the government in Los Angeles changes laws or does whatever and the cost of living goes up, it's your responsibility to move. It's your responsibility to find out how you're going to now increase your income or lower your tax liabilities. It's your responsibility. That's what comes with living in a free society. It's your responsibility. The downside is that when you don't make great decisions, or you're not, you're living on the margin, and you want to have a lifestyle that doesn't necessarily meet your income, you feel the results of that. And we talk about white privilege. Some people talk about black privilege. I think that the biggest privilege we have right now is American privilege. Right? I think we suffer from American privilege, and we have this idea that I should be able to have anything that I want whenever I want, and it should be the snap of my fingers, and I shouldn't have to make any sacrifice for it. And that's just not the way the world works, and we're seeing that more and more. The people that are willing to go out there and get after it, that are willing to make the moves, willing to make the sacrifices, willing to stay down for 2 to 5 years while they stack up some bread and save and build their little nest egg and get things off the ground and build that momentum, those are going to be the winners. The people that don't make excuses, the people that wake up every single day, dust out the soot from their eyes and go after it, those are going to be the winners. The people that get online or they move through their life blaming everybody else, blaming the system, talking about the system all the time. What about your system? What about your internal system? What about the things that you do? What system do you have in place for you to be successful? That's what nobody wants to talk about. You don't have a system in place for you to be successful, but you dependent on their system? You a fool. You have the opportunity and ability to implement a system within your own personal life to change your situation, and you waiting on Joe Schmo to write something on a piece of paper and vote on a bill and a law that could change your life. That's stupid. That's stupid. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're a content creator looking to grow your brand online without the burnout, make sure you tap into my Content Confidence Workbook. Info is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, make sure you go check out this full interview on The Breakfast Club. I thought it was a very good interview. Let me know what you think. Peace.